Coming up in this episode, Kruise Leeming leaves Leeds Rhinos. NRL Round 3 kicks off Friday with the Knights vs Dolphins and the Roosters vs Rabbitohs. And Smith's agent says tapping up payments offered. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Held Dominance, Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to continue seeing more. Also, please remember that I am running my Buy Me a Coffee campaign. Just use your mobile phone to follow the QR code and it'll direct you to my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the page and it will be used for a future rugby league project. We start today's episode with the news that Kruise Leeming is set for a shock exit from Leeds Rhinos after being granted permission to pursue a deal elsewhere. Leeming, the club's senior hooker and former captain, has not been selected for the Leeds clash against Castleford's Tigers last night after talks surrounding his exit evolved during the week. Leeming's representatives are believed to have held talks with Leeds Rhinos and understand they have reached an agreement enabling him to pursue a contract elsewhere with immediate effect. The 27-year-old is under contract until the end of the 2024 season, but now appears to have set the wheels in motion to leave well before that. It's news that's come as a shock to many of Leeming, given Leeming is one of the club's senior players. However, he lost his captaincy at the start of the year with Rowan Smith insisting and instead deciding to run with no captain for the current campaign. Therefore, Leeming found himself being utilised from the bench during the last year's run to the grand final, with Jared O'Connor preferred as the starting 9. Though Leeming started the first 2 games of the season, he found himself back on the bench for the victory over St Helens. He also picked up an injury in that game. Conversations began about a potential departure are thought to have commenced in the week following that game. Those talks are now believed to be at an advanced point that Leeming's representatives are plotting an exit route out of Headingley. When asked about it before the game, Rowan Smith said you would have to ask Kruise if it came out of the blue. And when asked if he'd spoke to anyone else in the squad about Kruise Leeming, I'm not too sure when people were made aware of the situation, but it hasn't been discussed as a group. When, or perhaps more interestingly, where Leeming goes next remains unclear, but it's understood the Rhinos would be willing to let him leave during the course of the current season. The departure would open up salary cap space to work with mid-season, should the Rhinos wish to do so. Furthermore, they are believed to have already started their recruitment plans to replace Leeming. Inevitably, a number of clubs are likely to be interested after the recent developments. Leeming is thought to have been fit to feature against Wakefield last week despite sustaining a foot injury in the win over St Helens. He was named in the 21-man squad to face Castleford, but didn't make the matchday 17. While he remains at the club, it is unclear if he will be made available for selection. Corey Johnson has now recovered from back surgery and is available for selection, while James Bentley made a cameo appearance at hooker last week. Leeming has never been shy to express his ambition to play for England, having cruelly missed out on last year's World Cup. A mid-season foot injury came while he was in form, and O'Connor's form at the end of the season saw his minutes reduced at the end of the year. He did join Leeds in 2020 and made 65 appearances for the club, and winning a Challenge Cup during his debut season. However, it now appears a move elsewhere is on the cards. Speculation on the internet says an NRL move is in the offing, but I've got a feeling that there's a chance that a Super League club is going to come for him. I wouldn't mind him at Wigan, as it seems like that they're missing a little bit of something in that position at the moment. Brad O'Neill's got time to develop, but he's not there yet. Anyway, wherever Kruise Leeming goes next will be of interest for many Super League goers. And if he is in the NRL, it's going to be interesting for the England selection. Shaun Wane knows that we know that Shaun Wane prefers an NRL player. Now let's move ourselves to down under, as in Australia the NRL have got 2 games for this Friday, and they are 2 exciting games. First of all, Newcastle Knights face the Dolphins, the Knights coming off a victory in round 2, while the Dolphins are 2 wins from 2 from their opening games. And also the Roosters face the Rabbitohs in the big derby in the NRL. The undefeated Dolphins face their first test on the road when they travel to Newcastle to take on the Knights at McDonald Jones Stadium. Wayne Bennett sides have stunned many with their start to their inaugural season, and they'll be out to keep that record intact against the Knights outfit, which is expected to have a heavily depleted side for the match. Newcastle's miraculous effort to hold on against the West Tigers on Sunday appears to have come at a cost, with coach Adam O'Brien expected to be without up to 6 players for the game against the Dolphins. However, after a disappointing home record last season, the Knights coach won't want any excuses when the 17 he picks takes the field on Friday. The battle between the fullbacks, Lachlan Miller versus Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, will play a big role in who wins the game, while the forward pack battle, particularly on the edges. The Knights came out losers in this game as the Dolphins made it 3 from 3 and topped the NRL Telstra table as they win 36 points to 20, with some good fortune going their way at the right time. Tessa New scored on the 9th minute to open the scoring in the Dolphins' favour before Tyson Gamble equalised on the 18th minute. The 2 tries from Cody Nikorima and New with his second on the 28th and 30 minutes respectively gave the Dolphins a decent lead going towards half time. But Lachlan Miller pegged them back on the 35th minute as it was 16 points to 12 going into the half-time mooter. On the second half, though, Lachlan Lamb was the one to open the scoring to give the lead back to for the first time to the Knights. Jackson Hastings kicked 3 from 3 for the 18 points that they had accrued up to that point. Though the Dolphins came out firing on the 57th minute as Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow went over on the 57th minute before New completed his hat-trick on the 66th minute. On the 68th minute though, Felice Kafusi was sent to the sin bin for a late hit on Jackson Hastings, and we thought that would turn the tide back in favour of the home side. But the NRL independent doctor said that Hastings suffered a head injury, whiplash effect, so he would have to go off for an assessment. They pulled him, and that meant that Jackson Hastings would not be playing for the rest of the game. In other words, no creative spark for the Knights. Lachlan Miller did add the penalty because they wanted to go and put themselves 6 points behind at 26 points to 6. Though down to 12 men, it was Jermaine Izako who went over for a try and on the 68th minute, and once again on the 75th minute, and once again on the 79th minute, with Jermaine Izako kicking 4 from 7 to give the win in favour of the Dolphins. The second game of the day saw the Sydney Roosters face the Rabbitohs in the Sydney Derby, the oldest NRL derby in Australia. Anyway, who could forget the last time that these two foundation clubs faced off against each other at the Allianz Stadium, when the Rabbitohs ended the Roosters' 2022 season in a blaze of controversy and sin bins. In the final analysis, it was the Bunnies prevailing 30 points to 14 after a record 7 players were sent to the sin bin and 3 more failed a HIA, as emotions spilled over on the number of occasions during the game. There will be no shortage of motivation on Friday as both sides look to hit top gear after a win and a loss in their opening 2 games of this season. The Roosters were stunned by New Boys Dolphins in round 1 but bounced back against the Warriors, while the Rabbitohs were slick against the Sharks but below par against Penrith. With games against the Seagulls and Storms to come in the next fortnight, it's crucial for the Rabbitohs to find some rhythm in their attack and not let their rivals get a jump on them as the Premiers did last Thursday. The Roosters, meanwhile, will have a couple of big guns returning this week as they look to take a big scalp and momentum into the round 4 bye. So how do the teams get on? And what a game at the Allianz Stadium, as it's the Roosters that prevailed in the end with a 20 points to 18 victory. The signs of how tough the game was going to be were on evidence within the first minute, as Rabbitohs forward Hame Sella didn't play beyond the opening minutes after suffering a head knock and failing his HIA. He will now miss the round 5 under the mandatory 11-day stand-down period following the diagnosis of a concussion. This setback was only a setback for a few moments as Keone Koloamatangi went over on the 7th minute for opening the scoring, before Alex Johnson scored his 168th try in the NRL on the 12th minute. Latrell Mitchell kicked 1 from the 2, but also got a penalty at the stroke of half-time to give the Rabbitohs a 12-10 lead at half-time, after Brandon Smith and Daniel Tupou both ran over on the left side of the pitch. After half-time, Jackson Paulo, the former South Sydney Rabbitohs player, get mixed up because he's now playing for the Roosters, scored twice in 20 minutes. First of all on the 45th and second on the 65th. Sam Walker kicked 2 conversions from 2 attempts, but that was enough for the win, despite a try before close to the end from Isaac Tuitapu Thompson, getting a first try for the Rabbitohs. There was a bit of fraction before that try as Joey Manu was sent to the sin bin for a high tackle, but Michael Che-Cam was sent to the sin bin as well as he ran in, causing almost a fight. But the Roosters got there in the end, 20 points to 18. And finally, news has come out that the NRL have confirmed the Integrity Unit will launch an investigation into a claim that Brandon Smith was offered an illegal under-the-table payment outside of the salary cap while he was negotiating his next contract last year. Smith, who came off contract at the end of 2022, was pursued by plenty of clubs around the NRL ahead of the 2023 season, before eventually deciding to link up with the Sydney Roosters. At one stage during the proceedings for his signature, it was reported that up to half of the NRL's teams were chasing Smith for 2023. It was believed he would have signed for the Dolphins, only to switch on that deal to link up with the Roosters following controversial comments on the YKTR Sports podcast around his desire to sign with the Roosters despite having a year or so to play with the Storm. While there is no suggestion yet of which club made the offer of an illegal payment to Smith by either Zero Tackle or his agent Stan Martin, who made the comments last week originally, and Zero Tackle reporting it, ARLC chairman Peter Vlandis has told News Corp that Martin should provide all evidence available with the Integrity Unit to launch an investigation. Speaking to Sport Confidential, the NRL Australian Rugby League Commission Supremo was bullish with the comments, We won't be tolerating salary cap cheating, he said. If Brandon Smith's manager has some information, I encourage him to make that information available to the NRL Integrity Unit. Landy said that the NRL will take immediate action against any club who has offered an illegal payment in an attempt to sign Smith, who was one of the hottest free agents on the market. It was a serious allegation, he said, of Martin's revelation. If he has evidence of some club trying to cheat the system, he should immediately hand it to the Integrity Unit for them to investigate. If he can provide some evidence, we certainly be taking action, no fear or favour. It is believed that one of the key reasons Smith ultimately left Melbourne was his desire to be the permanent first choice dummy half. However, that is off to a rocky start at Bondi. In 2 matches, the Roosters have struggled with Smith on the field, with the club ultimately finding themselves with a 1-1 record, and their attack looking disjointed. It's our favourite word again, clunky, as the early season cobwebs are going to be batted off. 1-1's not so bad after 2 games. I know there's other teams winning 2 and getting buys, extra points and things like that, but he's going to be a top star for them. And he's tough as nails like the rest of them. Smith will line up with the Roosters against the South Sydney Rabbitohs in round 3, which we've just covered a little bit earlier on. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide, as well as clicking on that notification bell for any updates on new videos that may be coming your way in the near future. Tell me what your thoughts are on today's episode in the comment section below, as it's got acting halfbacks everywhere. You thought I was going to say hookers. Anyway, if it was, then I'd be very, very happy. So, Brandon Smith being tapped up by another NRL club to join them? Not sure if I wouldn't put anyone past it, but the way that contracts work, if they get found out, they get seriously. Hookers do that as well. Tell me what your thoughts are. And it's been confirmed that Kruise Leeming is going to be leaving Leeds Rhinos. He's quit the club. That's it. Done and dusted. Where's he going to go? We'll have to find out. People are saying NRL with a certain hee-haw in the background. I don't know if that's true or not. Just speculation at this point. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide. And I'll end the episode as I always do by wishing you all the very best. So please stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.